Hello, everyone. My name is Danny, and this review is for the movie called The Kid Who Would Be King. Old school magic meets the modern day in this epic adventure. Alex is just a bullied kid until he discovers Excalibur, the legendary sword in the stone. Now, his friends and his enemies must become knights and join the wizard Merlin to fight the wicked Morgana. With the future at stake, Alex must show courage he never dreamed he had. This is a 2019 film. I just saw it yesterday. It is rated PG. It runs 2 hours. It's longer than expected. It stars Louis Ashburn Serkis, Rebecca Ferguson, Sir Patrick Stewart, and Dean Chuamu and Tom Taylor. It is directed by Joe Cornish. The Kid Who Would Be King. Well, I'll start off by saying that the months leading up to this, we saw plenty of previews for this movie. And the thing that just kept circulating in my mind was it was going to be such a great movie. It was going to be just like Kid in King Arthur's Court, kind of have some, stuff that we know, but be really funny and be a great story and, just be a delight for anybody involved, adults, kids, whatever. I didn't quite get the picture in my mind of what I was expecting. So I would say I left the theater disappointed. But I was looking forward to it. I enjoyed it. It just wasn't what I thought it would be. So we'll start with the first obvious thing that everybody talks about with any review is the acting. These are little kids, and it's hard to analyze anything they did because it's really not their fault. It's just how well they're taking direction. And when the script gives you the same line to repeat 4 times throughout the movie, it gives the movie viewer an idea that you're stupid, but it's not the kid's fault. It's the writing. So, we literally heard a lot of dialogue 4 times repeated throughout the movie. The fact that Excalibur talking about Excalibur and if he's meant to have it in the stone or not, and why they're making friends with these enemies, and it's all very repetitive, and it was almost offensive how mind-numbing it was because I think we could have been a little challenged with this movie. I think everybody who went to go see it, I had a full theater when I went. I think people wanted to be a little challenged with this movie and not have it be so simple because we were ready to see it. We were excited. We wanted it to be a big adventure movie, and we're just sitting there listening to them talk about the same old thing over and over again. It's not very fun. So as far as the funny factor goes, it was mild. I was delighted, when there was a lot of cool things and there was nice things that happened to nice people and there was some magic and, when the bully kid ends up gaining confidence, there's a lot of good themes and a lot of good messages throughout this movie that, that's fine, but there's not a lot of jokes. The biggest things we see in the previews leading up to the release date. So, and you can't be surprised at any of those things. So there's not much any other surprises. The third thing I need to mention is how dark this movie really is. I was talking to my mother and my friends and people that are older than me at my job. And I said, I really don't think you would have liked this movie. I could have asked some other people along to go with me, but I just don't think they like the creatures. It's right up there with Lord of the Rings, and it's, just stuff that people don't want in their minds all the time. And honestly, a lot of parents shouldn't want it in their kids' mind. These are really dark creatures. They're really evil. They are made of fire. It's not that pleasant of a movie. And for being rated PG, I think they could have, made it less about that, but it's totally about that. And they have these trials and these battles with these creatures, and there's just no getting around it. So it's just something to be forewarned about. The last thing I'd like to mention is my annoyance with this movie self-identifying. Like if if I'm watching a cartoon and they look at the camera and go, "How about that?" or "What do you think of that, folks?" Or somebody says something ironic and a person looks at the camera and just stares at it like, did you hear that? Like, I mean, shows and cartoons, they can do that. Like, they have that right. But then when this movie starts talking about how their adventures are just like Harry Potter and like Han Solo, and that came up a couple times. That was a repetitive dialogue. And when I hear that, I don't want to hear that King Arthur and that adventure that is in this movie. I don't want to hear the subject, material being compared to another movie and another tale. I just don't like that. It felt completely uncomfortable and weird. And when I heard it twice or three times, I'm like, okay, that's enough. Please. I just don't care, okay? It's not that, like they can't be in the planet Earth and have seen those movies and compare it to their adventure. That's, I understand that level of things, but for the moviegoer, we don't want to hear the movie we're going to being identified as another story, because Star Wars is a lot better than this. Lord of the Rings is massive compared to this, and Harry Potter is nothing like this. So I don't want to hear that. And if they're going to mention all these big mega movies while you're watching their movie, what is to keep you interested in that story? You can barely understand them with their accents. It's not that funny. Patrick Stewart is the best character, and he's not really, Merlin the whole time. It's this other kid, posing as a normal teenager. So he's probably the funniest part of this, is Merlin, the younger version, and just all the magic that happens is delightful. I will give it props on that. But overall, I had a lot of problems with this movie, and it's just not all that I'm going to state right now. It's just a lot of little things, and I think you'll kind of get that sense if you watch this movie also. So I'm going to give The Kid Who Would Be King a C+. And I think it's definitely in the C range, but I did like it enough, so that's where the plus comes in. So I do advise watching it. Give it a chance if you ever have a chance, but no reason to own this movie. You don't need to watch it more than once. So thanks a lot, guys. My name's Danny. If you like this or any of my other videos, try and give some of them a watch. Like and subscribe to my channel if you would, and enjoy your movies. Thanks.